Alright, first thing I need you to do, set some of your stuff off to the side, just get this stuff out. I want you to pick a point, or not a point, pick a line and just hold it up in the air. A line out of all your little pieces there, pick a line.
I know where I am. I didn't see what I picked up. It's picked up. The line has to be good at this. Where'd it go? What's on it? There it is.
There's no line here. Good. I forgot.
What should everybody be holding up? Describe it to me.
Double arrows.
Got arrow on both ends, all right? Joe, quit trying to be better than everybody else and picking up more than one line.
Did you say Joe?
Mark, I'm sorry. See, that was one of those Freudian slips again, where you're acting like Joe, so I. Put it down. Pick up a ray for me. What's different about a ray?
We got one arrow.
One arrow and one starting point, right? Somebody tell me the letters on their ray. N and E.
A and Y.
We're going to go with the N and E one for right now. Watch. So we got this ray. Now, this ray might look different than yours. Yours might go the other way. N and E, is that the way it is?
Yeah.
Somebody look back at your line. What was the letters? Or that? Let's not even do that. Let's just put these letters. N and E again. If I go to name this and I just write down NE, is that going to work?
No.
Why not?
It's the line.
All right, you got to tell what it is, and that's where you got to remember these symbols. So if I'm trying to name this line right here, what symbol do I put over the top? If I could draw it. What's going to be different when I name this one?
You only have one arrow.
Is this the same?
No.
Are those the same? Why not?
Because you have to have it where you started and end, because there's one that just starts and then it just keeps going on forever. So the line is a different situation.
Somebody volunteer for me and come up here, grab that red pen, and draw arrow EN for me using my points. All right, Mark. You guys aren't gonna let Mark volunteer every time, are you?
Yeah. Probably.
Use my letters, E and N, don't draw no new ones, and draw Ray, E, N. No, don't. Use my points. Somebody help Mark out, where's he gonna start at?
Mark, right there. Right where that red dot.
No, not the red dot, my black letters.
Oh, okay.
You're drawing Ray, E, N.
Basically,
You don't have to explain it, just draw it.
No?
No.
that counts as drawing.
Okay, keep going, you're all right. Does everybody understand that? All right. Did I want Mark to draw that ray somewhere else? If we already got E and N on here, is he going to draw over here somewhere another E and N? No. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't even have E and N, this many E and N's on the board, because then now we're saying this point's E and this point's E, and that's stupidity. What if I did this?
Same thing.
Those are the same, right? How come they're the same and these two weren't the same?
Because this one
It's-
is seamlessly both ways.
All right, very good. And what's the last thing that we had?
Line segment.
So pick up a line segment. What's different about a line segment?
It has to be one
It
start.
has start and stop.
Got to start and stop. Somebody give me their letter A. XC.
What's the last one? CJ?
So we got XC there, and we went through this last time. Do we need to bring somebody up here and show me the middle of that line? Why not?
Because it's obvious.
Is it ever gonna have a middle?
No.
No. How about this ray? If we get rid of Joe's ray. If we get rid of Mark's ray, is it gonna have a middle?
Nope.
How about this segment?
Yes.
Yeah, that will, somewhere right in there might be the middle point, alright? So you gotta remember, which of these three are we gonna use the most? Which do you think, in the real world?
Line segment.
How come?
Majority of things have a start and stop.
Exactly. In our world, not the majority of things, everything,
Yeah.
unless it's in here, right?
Right.
Even the universe, as far as we know, has a start and a stop. Because when you start to think about it, and you try to think, oh, it goes on forever and ever, then all of a sudden, you're like, what? What? You ever do that, think about something, and it's not possible, but it's gotta be. Do you think deep thoughts like that when you're at home?
Like
Yeah.
4 in the morning.
The universe, it goes on forever. What's on the edge of the universe? Oh, it doesn't have an edge, because it continues on, it keeps going. So tonight, when you're sitting at home, sit and think about it.
I just wonder why people say nothing else lives on other planets.
Here's a deep thought for you. Okay, so remember how we're so small compared to the sun, and how small our sun is compared to other stars? Think about how, like, if we're so small, imagine that, like, how small we'd be compared to some planet out there, and how small we'd be compared to some organism out there.
We could be living on a plant for all we know.
Yeah, we could be a molecule in someone else's.
Maybe a giant
That's what I was
elephant
gonna
carrying
say.
us around.
Gonna say, maybe we're not even really.
What if we're just a figment of imagination? We're not really existing.
The alphabet does not have.
Your brain's still stretching, Trina.
Stop bringing up Harambe.
Mark, do I wanna hear this?
It's a good thought, but it's too deep. Now we're starting to get to the point, like, we're starting to get into philosophy.
I paid my respects.
Alright, Mark, tell us.
Well, if time had to start somewhere, it would be a ray, but since we do not know the end point, it has to still be a ray until we actually find the end point.
Give me a line segment. We need a ray good. I mean, if there's a definition.
I think it's a line.
It's a line segment.
Not yet.
I think time is a line.
Even though it could be represented by a segment, it could be represented by a segment already, because some theorists say that our world has already ended, and we're like the aftershock of it, just
What if we're actually
just in the
dinosaurs?
memories of something.
Thing is, I think time is more of like a line.
So, does that mean like spirit animals are actually dinosaurs?
Alright, I forgot I was recording this. So now this is gonna be on Moodle all year long.
Good!
On your thing there, real quick, we're just gonna do a couple of things. We're not gonna do all this. Clear off one of your planes. Clear it off. Pick. That's plain.
I can have one, okay.
You should have grabbed it. You didn't grab the whole pile. Like a
But
bunch
that's
of
seriously all that was there.
Somebody else took yours and look in the box and, one of those boxes back there by, is it Trina? One of those boxes back there by Trina. You want the one that's got the hole in it. Plain S.
Yeah, that's beautiful. For success.
So you pick a plane. Now what I want you to do is take two lines, find two lines in your stuff and lay them on your plane. Always kills me when I have teenagers do stuff like this, because no creativity whatsoever. You guys always want me to be creative teaching you this stuff, and then I tell you to do it, and everybody lays them basically the same way over and over and over again.
We're sorry for being uncreative.
All the schooling I gotta go through and everything, and say, oh, you gotta be creative, you gotta catch their attention. And then,
Well, you did say Wednesday that math isn't creative.
Does that count? Hey, does that count?
How do you
They had
do?
three
Why do you only have one ray?
spectacular.
Full line?
You only got one line?
Yeah, I only got one line.
Yeah, pick something else.
Somebody,
We'll say it's a ray.
I just
Full line.
choose. There you go.
Somebody.
It's kind of the same. I just pretend not to narrow.
Oh, I got a fair line. You have BK.
no, she didn't have either one.
I would delete it.
So, when you do this, what are the possible things, quit cheating on me. Still ain't creative if you cheated off of your neighbor. What's the different ways that you could put these two lines on that plane?
There's a lot of
There's
ways.
a lot of ways, isn't there? Lots of different ways, right? Michael, his two lines intersect his plane at what? That's true, but what's it actually intersect the plane at? A point. Just one point each one, right? These, how many points do they intersect the plane at? All of them. They're all in the plane, right? Does anybody remember what we say? They're coplanar, because they're on the same plane. Michael's coplanar? Well, they are now. They weren't a second ago. Are they coplanar to each other? Or were they a second ago? No. Right? The points were collinear, and that's some of the stuff we're going to learn today. The other thing you could do is they could intersect. If they're intersecting, how many points do those two lines intersect at? One. We pick two lines anywhere in the world, and I tell you those two lines intersect, then you know they intersect at how many points? One. That's the only, there's no, for two lines to intersect, it's always going to be exactly at 1 point. Not 2 points, not 3 points, not 4, exactly 1 point. All right? Except one example that makes that wrong. The two lines, if they happen to be what? Let's see, I thought I seen somebody make theirs. They still intersect, don't they? But what's true about these two lines then?
They intersect infinitely.
At every point. So they don't just intersect at one point, they're the exact same line, just named two different ways. Does that make sense? Take the lines off and get plane S. And if you did any of the assignment, it's going to be your assignment today, you're going to be ahead of schedule, so that's great. And this is one of the questions on the assignment, take plane S, pick up one line, and have that line intersect that plane, but I don't want it to be completely in the plane. Intersect the plane, but not to be completely in the plane. Oh my God, Craig. You wanted to stick everything else through that hole that I didn't want you to stick through it. I'm just kidding with you, Craig. But it did sort of bother me that you are sticking everything. You pick this up and I have to tell you every time to get it off your finger or whatever.
No, I didn't do that.
You didn't? I seen you stick your finger through it a few minutes
I
ago.
did,
Oh.
if I didn't spend it.
Oh, that's true. So he's doing this. He's got this. He's stuck everything else through this that he could possibly stick through it. A pencil, a pen, 3 or 4 of these things, his finger. He was probably sticking his nose in it at some point. And then he does this. when he gets this and he wants the line to intersect the plane?
No, it wasn't like that. I was just thinking, I was just kidding.
There's only.
So, does everybody understand how that looks now? How many points does this line intersect that plane at?
One.
Exactly one. Right, exactly one.
You're rough.
Huh?
You're rough. That was mean.
I apologize.
I was just,
Sometimes-
sometimes like trying to fit the hole. I was just thinking.
Sometimes, Craig, it gets late in the week, so hopefully,
I was half asleep too, and like you were starting making.
so hopefully, you won't have me on Fridays very often, because when it gets late in the week, and I get, yeah, that's true, so you better get that changed real quick. I get frustrated after a while, and then it gets late, 4th block on Friday, and I'm just ready to, yeah, you did something stupid, I'll tell you about it.
He's gonna call you out.
Let's see, take the 2 planes, set the line to the side. Take 2 planes and do whatever you want with them. Don't throw them or nothing stupid, I mean, just show me something.
Don't whack people with them, you're not,
Got 2 planes.
not mentioning anyone.
Fine. I heard it this year.
Too late, boy.
Correct.
Can't use nothing else, Craig. 2 planes.
Oh, that's it? You can't use this now.
Totally original.
So,
Really not.
I'm looking over there, what Mason was trying to do, and I see that Trina has it done, she has turned her sideways to make it a little easier. Those 2 planes intersect at a what? A line. Why a line? It only goes, and what, it never stops, it keeps going out. Even though our planes don't actually keep going out, because I couldn't give you something that's kept going on and on forever, right? Mr. Spence here was real creative, and he did this. Which was fine, because that helps me show something. What do we have now? They're both the same plane, right? They look like they're the same plane,
They merge into one.
sort of. Now, if we were actually using planes, they wouldn't, but with what we're trying to do, because if it was a plane, when I held it up like this, what would you see? If I was just holding one plane,
You see what I'm playing?
you'd see nothing. You wouldn't see anything, because how thick is a plane?
It's like.
It doesn't have a thickness, right? So, it's hard to imagine it. But how many planes are there from here to here?
Infinite.
Whoa, right, an infinite number. So we can't really look at planes and the lines and all that other stuff, and that's what we're gonna talk about here in a minute. And those are called undefined terms. And the reason they're undefined is because even though I give you this and I say, hey, this is a plane, is it really a plane?
No.
No, because it's got a thickness and it shouldn't have. And what happens out here?
It ends.
It ends, it stops. Alright? So that's why it's undefined. Can I ever, or can you ever show me the exact idea of a plane? No. What if I held the 2 planes like this?
They'd be parallel.
Parallel planes. Name me parallel planes in the room.
The shelves.
Opposite walls, 2 shelves. Valerie's not saying it, but she's doing this.
Ceiling.
Ceiling and the floor, those are the ones I'll probably use the most, ceiling and the floor. Because that's a good example, right? That metal strip right there is a line that's in the plane that we consider the ceiling, right? This line right here is a plane that we consider the floor. Are they ever gonna touch each other?
Nope.
Let's hope not. Right?
They're not.
What about the bottom of the door to the floor?
So,
that's true.
Like that little kind
the little space where there is nothing, yeah, but the door should, if we're gonna consider it a plane, what's the door do? Continues on down, doesn't it, doesn't stop like the door does. Does that make sense? So if I do this, or did you mean something different? Well, if you don't know what you meant, who does? Yes. What if I hold them like this?
It's, sideways.
That's probably the wrong way. It's the intersection.
No. You can get my
Things crashing into each other.
second, third block, or second. So they intersect. What do they intersect at? A line. Now, some of you trying to be creative, and I was going to make fun of you, but I can't since I said you weren't creative anyway. And you did this. Those two planes, the other two planes intersected at a line when I was holding them.
It intersects at a point.
What do these intersect at? A line.
Yep.
Why a line? Because they go on forever. So this plane, if I could get it up in there, it would continue on out, and when you do that, it's still gonna intersect that other plane at a what? A line. How about three planes? I think that was one of the questions on the homework. If you had three planes, Mac had three planes right there. Are there lots of different ways that you could make those planes be related to each other?
Yes. I know one way.
Now they intersect at what? Two lines, you could add more and more. We'll get something like this. When you have six planes like we have here in the room, does it have to look like this? Do six planes have to be related?
No.
Like the four walls and the ceiling? Now, if you had three planes, how could they intersect?
Lots of different ones.
Lots of different ways? Maybe not quite infinite.
There's a lot of ways.
There's a lot of different ways they could intersect. Example. Right down in there, is there three planes coming together right here?
Please, Caleb Clayton to the office.
They come half day right there? I should have told her that before she looked silly, shouldn't I?
Yeah, because there's that wall on the floor.
So three planes come together right there, so they all intersect that.
Point.
One single point, right, that corner.
Yep.
Now, could they intersect all three of them at one line?
Yeah, but you have to have them at a certain angle.
So if we got the wall and the floor, could I put this plane coming down through here like this?
Yes.
They'll intersect at one line?
Yes.
Could I also do this? Now they intersect at how many different lines? Three. So lots of different ways. All right, set that stuff off to the side. That's what we're gonna deal with. All of that, start copying this down. Again, when you write down these notes, and I hate to say this because I know what's gonna happen, because I already had it today in one of my other classes. When you write down these notes, these are your notes. Write down what's gonna help you. I already had one person today that I had to go say, hey, might be a good idea to write down some of these. Oh, I know this stuff. Let me hit pause.
Marcus, I actually got something in this class finally. So, what is it right next to Mark the whole
She's back here rolling her eyes. She's rolling her eyes at me, Mark. Here pretty soon I'm gonna put the desk in pairs. And leave yours in pairs.
By head, so what are the three sections? Nose.
Nose, postulates and theorems, testing quizzes.
All right, well, I did my homework on.
That's fine. So, a lot of people want to put a homework section in their binder also, and just do it that way. That's fine. Other things that I've seen throughout the years is some people like to do their notes do the notes on this page and then do the homework on the next page, that's fine also. All right, apparently there's a teacher in the middle school or elementary or somewhere that teaches you to do stuff that way, because I've seen a lot of people do it that way. That's fine. It's just, when you hand it in, I don't grade your homework, you know, I just look at the notes pages of it, but. Mason's gonna be the one that, here in about a week from now, I'm gonna have to tell everybody. All right, you gotta write down every word that's on my PowerPoint. That's not gonna be you that does that, good, but you're smarter than that. You had to think about that answer? Yeah. That worries me. Should Mason have stopped and thought about whether he's smarter than that or not?
Maybe.
Huh?
No, well, maybe.
If he's Mason, should he? I'm asking the people who know him, because I've only known him for a
Yeah,
couple days.
Mason used to stop and
He
think for
sometimes does
sex.
some dumb things, but he's a smart person.
He used to stop and
I
think.
think everybody knows on that. I'm pretty sure that's like, I don't think it's a compliment. That's,
All right, so what we're gonna cover today. Be able to name geometric figures. That's what we've been doing, lines, segments, rays, all that stuff. Planes, model them. When it says model, give me a real life model of a plane. Anybody?
The floor, the ceiling, the
Floor, the ceiling.
walls.
All right, that's what modeling means. Understand the undefined terms, and that's what we're gonna talk about here in a second. There's 3 undefined terms. Anybody guess what those 3 undefined terms are?
Points, lines, and
Points,
planes.
lines, and planes. Those are the basis for all of geometry. And all of our world is based off of points, lines, and planes. Everything in the world, points, lines, and planes. Now, there's actually one other one, but we don't talk about it a whole lot, and that's space. All right, how come we don't use space a whole lot in here? Because
Because it's 2D.
There's nothing.
when I passed out all this stuff to you, I could sort of show you what a line was and what a ray was.
Just space.
I can't draw the whole space, could I? So we don't use it very often. All right. Again, 3 basic terms are undefined terms. At some point, there will be a test throughout the year, and somewhere on that test, I'll put an easy question, and I'll say, what are the 3 undefined terms? And you should know that they are what? Point, lines, and planes. A point, we don't have a symbol for a point, so when you go to name a point, you got to write out the word point, and then whatever letter goes with it. That letter's always got to be a capital letter. Always got to be capital. Don't make it small letters. Bad habit to get into. Just add stuff in that maybe as we go, maybe add stuff in that helps you. It's good that you're a go-getter like that, but it sort of makes me feel bad because now I'm unneeded.
you can still make fun of
I'm needed for that.
Wait, so it's a point with a capital A.
All right, you just write out like this, point A to
It
me.
don't even have to be that letter.
Yeah, right, it could be any letter for that point. So if I'm looking at this, point in, if I want to name it. All right. Line a little tougher. With a line, there's a couple different ways to name a line. The way that we've been talking about is with 2 letters. They gotta be capital letters, and they gotta have the line symbol above it. When you pick the letters on a line, I picked A and B. Is that the letters I had to pick?
No.
You can pick any 2 letters on that line to name the line, because what's the line do?
Goes
keeps on going forever and ever in both directions. So any points that fall on this line could be used to name it. But you only pick 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not just 1 point on it. You pick 2 points on it and use the symbol above it. Now this, I don't like this, but a lot of books and a lot of things use this way to name a line. And you probably, if you did the homework, you've seen some of this. Sometimes they'll put a lowercase letter out here by one of the arrows of the line, and we can name that line with the word written out, no symbol this time, line, and whatever that lowercase letter is. So line M. In no way, shape, or form do I like naming it that way, but when you go to take that test at the end of the year, a lot of different things name lines that way. That letter, in no way, shape, or form does it represent any point anywhere on this line. It just represents the entire line.
Yep.
All right, so make sure you don't get that confused. There's no point M anywhere on this line. It's just M is the entire line. Tell me another way we could name this line. Go ahead, Mark.
Any combination of A, B,
Give me one.
B, C, A, C,
Give me one.
B, C.
Line BC. Would that work? Yeah. Give me another one. Line BA. All right. Any 2 letters. Doesn't matter if they start this way and go this way. No. So if it's a line, any 2 letters that fall on that line and the line symbol. Again, how come a line's undefined? Because I can never ever really show you a complete and total line, because it's going to keep going forever and ever. If I have 1 point, this is my point right here. How many lines in our world are there that go through that point? And then lines all over the place going through that point. All right. What about if I had 2 points? Jenna, hold up your fist in the air. I got my point and I got Jenna's point back here. How many lines are there go through those 2 points? One. You might want to write that down somewhere. Any 2 points make a what? Line. Any 2 points make a line. Any 2 points anywhere in this world make exactly 1 line. So there's a point right here on the floor, and there's a point over in New Paris, sorry, I'm pointing the wrong way, over in New Paris that's 10 feet from the stop sign on, what street is that? Spring Street. All right, that stop sign right there on Spring Street, there's a point. I put it out there the other day, stop and see it. I drew it right there on the road. This point and that point, how many lines are there to connect those 2? 1. Exactly 1. Make sure you stop out there and see it, Danny. So 2 points make exactly 1 line. That's what we just got done talking about. So you already wrote that down. I would write down this right here. Collinear. What's the prefix co mean?
Share.
Share, together. All right. So collinear. What's the root word of linear? Line. So they share a line. They're on the same line. Collinear, points that happen to fall all on the same line. For some reason, that one and the one that we're going to talk about here in a minute, people seem to have a whole bunch of trouble with, and I think they're like the easiest words that there are. Collinear. Co means same or share, and then line is the root word, so they share a line. Well, what's that tell me? These points all share a line? Oh, they're all on that same line.
Yep.
Don't make it harder than it has to be. How many lines go through points G and R right there? 1. All right, planes. We talked a little about planes. When we named your planes, what was the name of your planes that you have on your desk? So plane S, plane P. Mine is plane P, but there's other ways you can name a plane. And you probably want to write this down, because that other way to name a plane, there's two different ways, and you gotta know both ways, because sometimes we'll use one, sometimes we'll use the other way to name it. As you're writing it down, or before you write it down maybe, let's talk about coplanar down here. Collinear meant on the same line. What do you think coplanar means?
On the
Same plane, right? Now, this up here says non-collinear. If collinear means on the same line, what do you think non-collinear
Not
means?
the same one.
Not on the same line. Now, as I was going through this book, I don't think they use non-collinear. So apparently, don't take this wrong, because I'm going to say it several times throughout the year, they think you guys are not very intelligent, because they thought the words non-collinear, they thought that that word was too tough for you. So instead of saying non-collinear, they just say not collinear.
That's like no difference at all.
There's not. But this is a more mathematical word, and they don't think that you can understand it. That's too much for you, and that's a bunch of crap.
Sounds funny.
Yes, Mark?
Or that the people who wrote the book obviously forgot to use their math dictionary to write it.
Yeah, I don't know about that. The people who write these books are usually fairly good math people, and they just don't believe that everybody else is as smart as them. So they like to
They're not
treat
like
people
me,
dumb. Now, maybe later on in the book, I don't know, because I haven't looked all the way, at every single page in the book. Maybe they will use non-collinear. But it seems like I remember looking over this assignment and stuff, and they say not collinear, right? Isn't that right?
Well, in some aspects they're not wrong, so.
Oh, no, it's not wrong. It's just not giving you credit that you can understand what non-collinear means. They have to separate it and make it easier, like dumb it down.
Have you seen the 1 plus 1 equals 3 thing? Like how they do it?
On the thing, yeah. Yeah. There's lots of things in the world that people dumb everything down so that, because they don't think that other generations are gonna be smart enough to understand it. That bothers me. It's just like telling all you guys, hey, you're stupid, you can't do this yourself, so we're gonna make it easier for you.
And if we don't, then how are we gonna learn?
Right. And that's the bad thing. So stuff like when you go to the grocery store, this is the one that drives me nuts to no end. You go to the grocery store and there's a little tag underneath everything that you buy. And it says something like that. 23.1 cents. What's that telling you?
That's telling you.
Price per ounce.
Price per ounce, price per, whatever it is, whatever you're dealing with. When I was growing up, they didn't put that on there. You had to go into the grocery store and decide yourself, hey, should I buy this 16-ounce box of cereal for $2.50, or should I buy this 32-ounce box of cereal for $4? And you had to use your brain to think it through. Now they do that. Now the bad thing with that is that still sometimes, if you look at stuff, I think peanut butter is one, and laundry detergent. I'm trying to think what else. If you look at, next time you go to the grocery, look at like the peanut butter, and look at like one of the big things, a 40-ounce thing of peanut butter or something, and then look at the little 12-ounce, and look at the price per ounce or whatever it is, and the 12-ounce will be a better buy, even though everybody thinks what's true. The more you buy, the better price you're getting, right? And that's not the way it is. So, but they put all those on there because, oh, well, people aren't smart enough to figure it out themselves, so we're gonna do it for you. That's just ridiculous. Give me another way. I named this plane, plane P and plane NTB. Those are my ways, all right? To name a plane, you can use the little letter in the corner. Notice mine's a cursive letter. This book doesn't use cursive letters or fancy letters. They just use other letters. And sometimes that gets confusing because if I move this point over here a little closer and that T was close to that corner, then you might think the plane is going to be called plane T. So you got to really watch out for that. So this is plane P. The other way you can name a plane is by picking any three non-collinear points. So any 3 points that don't happen to fall on the same line. All right? Give me 3 points in this picture that do fall on the same line.
BLA.
So can we use those 3 letters to name this plane?
No.
The reason for that, because they're collinear, right?
Yes.
And the reason is there's some other plane that runs through here and does this and would contain all 3 of those points. Yeah. And then if you say plane BLA, well, I don't know if you're talking about this purple plane or this plane. So it's not just that one plane. There's several different planes that could be named plane BLA. So we don't want that. We want our one exact plane. So pick 3 points on the plane that are non-collinear. Go ahead, Mark.
NTA.
NTA. What was yours? You picked the same as Mark? All right. NTA will work. Are there others? Yeah, there's lots of different ways you could name it. What I usually think about is when I'm looking at a plane and I want to name it, if I pick 3 points, I want those 3 points to make a what?
Angle.
A triangle. If the 3 points make a triangle, then you can name the plane using those 3 points. Can I make a triangle with these 3 points? No. They make a line. All right? So to name a plane, you pick 3 points, any 3 points on the plane, name it that way, or if they happen to give you that one letter in the corner, you can name it just using that. Non-collinear, non-coplanar we already talked about. Is that going to be a big deal? You guys can understand that, right? You're smart enough to say, hey, if it's collinear, that means on the same line. If it's non-collinear, that means not on the same line. Coplanar means on the same plane. Non-coplanar means not on the same plane. Let me go back for 1 second because I didn't mention something on this last one. How come on this one it says on the same plane? How come it doesn't say like points on the same plane?
Because it could be anything on the same plane. It could be a line, it could be a point, it could be a ray, it could be a line segment.
Best answer Mark's given
It
so
could
far this
even
year.
be up another plane, which is basically sandwiched on the same exact plane.
Looking at all this stuff that I have on the board right here, what can we say about all these letters and all these drawings? They're all coplanar, right?
Yep.
So it could be anything. It could be lines, rays, segments, triangles, squares, whatever. If we were using the floor as our plane, what could we say about all of you? You're coplanar. You're all in that same plane, right? So something like that.
All on the same plane at the same time.
Huh?
Since there's an infinite number of them, we'd all have to be on the same one at the same time.
Yeah, but if we're, let's say we're using you like points, like you don't actually have any height, all right? So you're standing here, I'm on this plane, which plane are you on?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
The Earth's crust is like, so we're technically all on the same.
Always, right? Everybody is all the time. Now, what's the bad thing with the Earth's crust?
So,
It's round.
It's round. We'll talk about that at some point throughout the year, I'm sure. On this, probably write down the line segment and the ray. Make sure you know those symbols. I didn't put it on here, but when we name this, you name it ray RS. Make sure you might want to write something down and say, put something and say that's the symbol or something. Whatever helps you to make sure you know what the symbol for a ray is and what the symbol for a segment is. Now, as I put this on the board here, I said that this segment can be named segment ZE or segment EZ. But this ray down here can't be switched around. How come?
Because of the one and
All right. Segment, no matter what, if this is our segment from here to here, it doesn't matter if we start at my right and go to my left or the other way around. But with a ray's got direction. So it's going in a certain direction. And what you use rays for, I don't know if I explained this to you guys or not. I did one of my classes. If I kick a soccer ball outside, did we talk about this? If I kick a soccer ball, in algebra you probably learned, hey, that soccer ball makes a parabola, and you do stuff like that, right? That's the only thing you remember? Now, do you remember how to deal with the parabolas and stuff? So you just remember that it's a parabola.
Yeah.
All right. So it makes a parabola, but when that soccer ball's right here, it's not making a parabola. It's actually making a ray. And this doesn't make sense to a lot of people till you really stop and think about it. But as it goes around here, if we were to stop it in time right there at that certain point, it's making a ray. This ball is not moving this direction. It's actually moving that direction. So how come it makes a parabola instead?
Gravity.
Gravity. Because it's moving this direction, and at the same time, gravity's pulling down on it there, so it makes it make that parabola. All right? But if there wasn't gravity and we kicked that ball, it would make a ray. And that's what rays are. A ray shows a direction, a motion. So we start at R and go out through S. And if we turn it around and start at S and go out through R, that's something completely different. All right? So one other thing, I'm going to draw this ray up here. This is my ray. Somebody come up here and take this red pen and draw a ray that's opposite of my ray. I should have used the actual marker, so this would be on the video, right?
So right here, right? Just draw it under.
No, don't draw it under. It's got to be exactly opposite.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it.
Now, if it's exactly opposite of mine, where's it going to start at?
Then it's gonna start.
It's gonna start at Q.
Let's start Q. Oh, let's
Just
start
start
P.
P.
Is that cute?
It's gonna start P.
So his ray's gonna, my ray starts here at P and it goes this direction. If his is exactly opposite of mine, it's gonna start at P and go that direction. Thank you.
Both start the same.
When you have those two opposite rays, what do they actually form? A line. All right. Anybody got a different name for it other than a line? Could also be a what?
No, that's it.
Sort of, but that's not the answer I was looking for.
A line.
Could be an angle. What kind of angle?
180 degree
Straight angle, which is 180 degrees. So opposite rays, and I'm going to draw this here. I would write down what opposite rays are. You might want to draw my picture here also. Tell you what, I keep doing this and forgetting that I'm recording this, and I should be writing that. So if I draw this ray going out this direction, and we call it ray, give me two letters, TY. And then I do this, pointer options, that's not what I want to do. Pointer options, pink color, let's go with purple. Let's go with orange then. Probably won't look different.
At least you don't have to read your smart board.
I do it every day. I haven't right now, but do it every day. I want to pick that one. Doesn't like that color, I guess. Pick me another letter. You're a second late every time. So we got ray YT, that's going out this direction. And then we got ray, somebody name this ray for me. YZ, and it's going out that direction. Together they form a straight angle, or they form a line, whatever you want to call it. If we wanted to measure it, then we call it a straight angle, because then it's 180 degrees. We can actually have a measure for it. As you're writing this down, let's fill these two in. Two lines intersect at a what? Point. Now, this is sort of wrong, because do two lines always intersect at a point? What could happen with those two lines? They could be the whole lines. What else could happen?
They're parallel.
They could be parallel to each other. I just didn't, I was too lazy to type all that out. Two planes intersect at a what? Line. And again, I was just too lazy to write the whole thing out, because the two planes could actually be parallel, they could be, I guess that's basically the only things they could be. Lines could be something else, but we ain't gonna talk about that right now. Talking too much, I guess, need to hold it. Right, if you started on the homework, get it out, you can add this stuff to it that we're getting ready to do. If you haven't started on it, then get it out a clean sheet of paper, and we're gonna work these problems together. It's just gonna be added to what your homework assignment was. And it will be, collected next class.
Wait, so I
So
filled
Tuesday.
out last time for nothing?
You can do it for nothing, you're gonna get a grade for it, next class.
So I did it. I was
Oh, hold on.
I stayed up till like 10 o'clock.
Listen, even past that, did we not have the conversation at the beginning of this class that if you're here for your grade and stuff, you're here for the wrong reason, right? What are you here for? To learn, to better yourself. So if you're here because Mr. Eversole is going to give me a grade on a homework assignment, then you're here for the wrong reason. You want to better yourself. You want to learn something and then go out and use it. And I want you to learn something, because then you can come back and say, yeah, I'm a millionaire now, and I can be all proud and say, oh yeah, I taught him, even though I might not have had anything to do with it. I'm still going to take some of the credit.
And don't forget our names.
Yeah, I still won't remember your name. Say, hey, that one guy I had in class. He owns Procter and Gamble now, or something like that. All right, you're gonna add this to it. Open up your books to page 8. Page 8. The stuff, if it's in your way, if my stuff is in your way, just set it on the floor or on a desk next to you, somewhere completely and totally out of your way. Lane, that didn't mean to put it in David's way.
Does putting it on the rack affect anyone?
Compare collinear points and coplanar points.
All right, so compare for me collinear points and coplanar points. Show me how I can write out a comparison here. In about-
Collinear is on the same line, and coplanar is on the same plane.
On same line. On same plane. Now this is horrible. Don't run down and tell Mr. Eiler or any of the other English teachers. I would rather see that on the paper or on a test or on whatever than a complete and total sentence, because that way I gotta read less. All right? Now, when you go to take the Ohio test, you probably better write it out a little nicer and more complete, because you don't want them taking off points for something silly. Number 3. Mark, read number 3 for us.
Name 4 points.
Slow down, Mark, because I know you're getting ready to jump right into something and I'm not ready. So Mark's gonna name 4 points. I'm giving him half of his answer. Point doesn't have a symbol, so the first thing you gotta write is the word
Point
point.
A, point B, point B, Point C.
Why are you naming point B twice?
Come on, Mark. Keep going.
Point A, point B, point C, point D.
Good enough. For those answers you had to give.
No.
No, it's others. If you want to be completely and totally different from Mark, then you might have to put down different answers, right?
I'm gonna go find that.
Oh, you're trying to find it, and I interrupted you. I'm gonna wait on you. Yeah, keep your hand up. Number 4. Trina, read number 4 for us. So name me one line. See what? Now, Trina said it right, go on, name another one. She's doing it right, and I'm doing it wrong on purpose. What did I forget? You've got to use the symbols. You have to put those symbols on there. If you don't put the symbols on it to show me that they're lines, and it's going to be incorrect. Number 5. Your name a second ago. I don't know how you do it. What is it? Teresa. Go on then. Number 5.
Oh, that contains points A, B, and C.
So name that plane for me.
S.
Plane S, she said. Somebody give me another way to name Teresa's plane. Contained A, B, and C. Hint, hint. You just said it. Plane A, B, C. Any 3 letters in that plane, as long as they're non-collinear, you can name that plane.
What's the book right now?
No, we don't have them. That's why I gave you that. I don't have any extra. So we're ordering them right now. And until we get them in, I'll have to print stuff off for you. I might have to order more because I told them to order 5, and now I have like 5 new students today. Number 6. Lane, read number 6 for us.
Name the plane that contains points A, B, and E. That would be plane E, wouldn't it?
Everybody agree with that? Just real quickly, somebody name Lane's plane another way. Go ahead. What is it?
D-E-A.
It's Valerie, right?
Oh,
No, you were right.
yeah.
It's Valerie, right? DEA. That worked. Now here, I wanted to bring this up. Got to be careful with this. That T, is that actually a point on that plane?
No.
No. And that's why I don't like using that. I like using the cursive or something like that, something different. Because T's not really a point. It's supposed to be the whole plane. Well, when you start making it just a T like this, it looks like it's a point. All right, this is your assignment. Those of you who weren't here, so make sure you get that down. Those of you who were here, if you got it done, and just go back over it and make sure it's right now that hopefully you know a little more. And we got about 10 minutes. Got to do one of these 3 questions before you leave, and just call me over to your desk, raise your hand or something, and I'll look at your answer.